welcome back to my channel. It's your girl DK and I'm back with another video. So we're back reading. We're back on our spiritual and interpersonal growth. So I'm gonna read chapter 2. If you haven't checked out my first video of my reading series, I was reading chapter 1 and I read the introduction of the book with y'all and read I read in chapter 1 about the voice inside your head. So chapter 2 is called The Inner Roommate. And we're going to see what this is about. So let's get started. And then I'm highlighting with my pink highlighter again. So, your inner roommate. Your inner growth is completely dependent upon the realization that the only way to find peace and contentment is to stop thinking about yourself. You're ready to grow when you finally realize that the I, who is always talking inside, will never be content. So I'm going to highlight your inner growth completely depends on you. Honestly, when was the last time you really had nothing bothering you? Before you had your current problem, there was a different problem, and if you're wise, you'll realize that after that, there will be another one. The bottom line is you'll never be free of problems until you are free from the part within that has so many problems. When a problem is disturbing you, don't ask, what should I do about it? Ask, what part of me is being disturbed by this? If you ask, what should I do about it, you've already fallen into believing that there really is a problem outside that must be dealt with. If you want to achieve peace in the face of your problems, you must understand why you perceive a particular situation as a problem. If you're feeling jealousy, instead of trying to see how you can protect yourself, just ask, what part of me is jealous? That will cause you to look inside and see there's a part of you that's having a problem with jealousy. That's powerful. That's powerful. That's powerful. Okay, once you clearly see the disturbed part, then ask, who is that? Who is it that sees this? Who notice who notices this inner disturbance? Asking this is the solution to your every problem. The very fact that you can see the disturbance means that you are not it. The process of seeing something requires a subject-object relationship. The subject is called the witness because it is one who sees what's happening. The object is what you are seeing, in this case, the inner disturbance. The act of maintaining objectivity, awareness of the inner problem, is always better than losing yourself in the outer situation. This is the essential difference between a spiritually minded person and a worldly person. Worldly doesn't mean that you have money or stature. Worldly means that you think the solution to your inner problems is in the world outside. You think that if you change things outside, you'll be okay. But nobody has ever truly become okay by changing things outside. There's always the next problem. The only real solution is to take the seat of witness consciousness and completely change your frame of reference. To attain true inner freedom, you must be able to objectively watch your problems instead of being lost in them. No solution can possibly exist while you're lost in energy of a problem. Everyone knows you can't deal well with the situation if you're getting anxious, scared, or angry about it. The first problem you have to deal with is your own reaction. So I was like, okay, it said when you tell a friend, every time I talk to someone, it gets me so upset. How do you know it gets you upset? You know that it gets you upset because you're in there and you see what's going on in there. There's a separation between you and the anger or the jealousy. You are the one who's in there noticing these things. Once you take a seat of consciousness, you can get rid of these personal disturbances. You start by watching. You just be aware that you are aware of what is going on in there. It's easy. What you will notice is that you're watching a human being's personality with all its strengths and weaknesses. It's as though there's somebody in there with you. You might actually say you have a roommate. If you would like to meet your roommate, just try to sit inside yourself for a while in complete solitude and silence. You have the right, it's your inner domain. But instead of finding silence, you are going to listen to incessant chatter. Why am I doing this? I have more important things to do. This is a waste of time. There's nobody in here but me. What's this all about? Right on cue, there's a roommate. There's your roommate. You may have a clear intention to be quiet inside, but your roommate won't cooperate. And it's not just when you try to be quiet. It has something to say about everything you look at. I like it, I don't like it. This is good, that's bad. It just talks and talks, and you don't generally notice because you don't step back from it. You're so close that you don't realize that you're actually hypnotized into listening to it. Basically, you're not alone in there. There are two distinct aspects of your inner being. The first is you, the awareness, the witness, the center of your willful intentions. And the other is that which you watch. The problem is the part that you watch never shut up. If you could get rid of that part, even for a moment, the peace it certainly would be nicest vacation you've ever had. Imagine what it would be like if you didn't have to bring this thing with you everywhere you go. Yeah, I'm ready. Okay, so I read the rest of the book, and we're gonna start with this page. So it says, after all, its advice and analysis of the situation were totally wrong. No, you never hold it responsible for the trouble it causes. In fact, the next time it gives advice, you're all ears. Is that rational? How many times has that voice been wrong about what was going on or what will be going on? Maybe it's worth noticing whom you're going to advice for, because we go to our mind for advice. All them overthinking times and all those times where we think it's something else when it really probably is not that. It's our mind. When you sincerely try these practices of self-observation and awareness, you'll see that you're in trouble. You'll realize that you've only had one problem your entire life and you're looking at it. It's pretty much the cause of every problem you have ever had. Now the question becomes, how do you get rid of this inner troublemaker? The first thing you'll realize is that there's no hope of getting rid of it until you really want to. So you have to be willing to get rid of it. And once you've made the decision to free yourself from the mental melodrama, you are ready for teachings and techniques. You will now have a real use for them. Once you've made this freedom the meaning of your life, there are spiritual practices that can help you. These practices are what you do with your time in order to free yourself from yourself. If you want to free yourself, you must first become conscious enough to understand your predicament. Then you must commit yourself to the inner work of freedom. You do this as though your life depends on it, because it does. Your life is not your own. It belongs to your inner roommate. You have to take it back. So it's basically like saying that we need to free ourselves from our mind, because all we do constantly, which is very true, everything everybody always does is overthink everything. It could be the smallest thing and somebody's going to overthink it. You could say something very direct and the other person will overthink it, because, and that's just us being human. But once you realize like that's what you're doing, like for example, I know that I overthink. Once you realize that that's what you're doing, you have to free yourself from it. And that's basically what chapter 2 is saying. So I will see you in my next video. Make sure y'all give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. And bye.